Welcome to Nerd Sports. Today we're going to talk about the intricate sports stuff of curling.
The intricate sports stuff of curling. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're going to dive into curling, let's talk about that is the only Olympic event that allows bartenders and bar patrons to become world-class athletes.
Just go ahead and say it. It's where fat people can be athletes.
Well, we don't want to fat shame. I mean, you know, we have
do.
to. We have to.
I've always said there's a weight limit for this ride.
Okay. Okay. But if we're talking about Olympic sports, we need the elephant in the room.
Yes, the big elephant in the room. Someone had
hammer thrower Gwen Berry.
I didn't even want to name her.
Now, you know what?
I didn't want to give her.
Let's name her because people need to understand because we can't. And I'm going to use this term. We can't whitewash history as it's being made. But you know, Gwen Berry turning away from the flag at the Olympic trials. She podiumed. She finished third in the hammer throw event. Said she felt like it was a setup. Well, you know what? No, they had a pre-published a schedule of when they were going to be playing the national anthem, and they just happened to be playing it at about the same time that they were on the podium. You know what? So what? And then, you know, I felt like it was a setup. But yeah, you walked up to the podium with a T-shirt that says activist athlete. And you're going to sit there and tell me that you did not mean to demonstrate, didn't mean to turn your back? Like, seriously? What did you think was going to happen?
I think in her infinite wisdom, what she thought was going to happen is what's been happening in most sports right now when people do that. It's like, oh, she's so brave and everything. She wanted the attention again. And she did that. And then she got serious backlash because I understand that you have some kind of activist stuff and everything going on, but you're representing the United States.
Yeah. And you know, let's once we get past the U.S. Olympic trials, and if you make the Olympic team, you travel to Tokyo. The International Olympic Committee, the IOC, they've already said, look, hey, no, there are sanctions that are going to be placed upon athletes and teams for demonstrating during an awards ceremony. They put an X on that crap back in the 70s whenever we had those two black activist athletes raising a single fist in the air, you know?
Yeah.
And because the Olympics, they're not the place to become political. I mean,
they're not the United States.
Yeah, Host countries have tried to do it, but in the past, you know. But, you know, as far as your athletes are concerned, no. The spirit of the Olympics is to come together through sports, and you know to you know I mean it's for you know I mean it's just simply coming together as a community on the world stage.
Yeah.
It's not the place for your political statements, and it's not the place for your political beliefs. If you wanted to, you know, and let's just say, for example, she gets named to the Olympic team. If she gets named to the Olympic team, and by some grace of God, she podiums, she medals at the Olympics, what is she going to do? You know, if an American, wins gold, or if she wins gold, what are they going to do? Is she not going to show up? Is she going to raise her fist? Is she going to flash her little bullshit T-shirt? No. Because the IOC is going to smack her down. And she can try to play the race card all day long, but the IOC is just not going to listen. And on top of that, Japan, the host country, they've already said, hey, look, if you're going to demonstrate, don't come. And if they catch you trying to pull that crap during an award ceremony, they're going to ask you to leave.
Yeah.
Pure, plain and simple. I mean, the IOC's rules clearly state no political activism during an award ceremony, during the opening or closing ceremonies. That's not the time or the place. If you want to make those kinds of inflammatory comments, you want to make those kinds of statements, you do it on your own time. You do it away from the field. You do it outside of the Olympic Village.
And that's and it's not just us harping or anything like that of how horrible it is or if it is horrible. Because, in all honesty, it's the First Amendment.
It is. It's the First Amendment.
And I've fought for that.
Yeah. I mean, I did too. And so did a lot of other people. But at the same time, you know, they're not professional athletes. These are amateurs.
Well, they're supposed to be amateurs.
Okay, yeah, they're supposed to be amateurs, but we know that everybody's got a sponsor in one way, shape, form, or fashion. Anyways, that's beside the point.
But no, my thing is, it's more or less to safeguard that person depending on which country they go to.
Yeah.
Because what if, like the other thing that we need to talk about is the transgender weightlifter going to Iraq or Iran. I mean, they toss those types of people off the roof. And this is not saying, I was like, oh, I'm for that. No, I'm not for anybody
what
getting
was that
tossed
meme?
on the,
It says
off
Happy
the
Pride
roof.
Month, and it shows people, you know,
Oh, yeah,
dancing in
yeah,
the
yeah, the
streets,
one
and
that's
it's in
like-
the Middle East, and it shows somebody chucking a homosexual off the
No,
roof.
it was Trans for Palestine.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah.
it was then it switched around Palestine for trans, and they're tossing them off the building and everything.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't understand about some of these countries.
Yeah.
They will murk you
Yeah,
fast.
I mean,
if you show any kind of difference.
I
between
saw a
themselves.
TikTok video. I didn't bother to check the statistics on it to make sure or fact check it to see if it was accurate. But the gist of the video,
Yeah.
the creator, is a Marine Corps veteran, obviously because he had a Marine Corps cap on and he had crayon stuck in his teeth. But he was talking about, you know, this trans or homosexual individual was holding a tattered, tied up in knots, faded American flag and said that this is a sign of hate, this is a sign of bigotry, a sign of racism. And he's like, that symbol represents the country that leads the fight in trans rights. It's one of 4 countries and one of, you know, I mean, he just listed off all these little facts. And I wish I'd have saved the video and watched it so I could bring it up here. But what we're seeing is a false narrative being pushed. Just like systemic racism is, I think it's a misdirection. I think it's an easy argument to make, and it's an easy narrative to push on the uneducated masses. And by uneducated, I'm not talking about underprivileged. I'm not talking about inner city. I'm not talking about any of those demographics. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about the people who are just too lazy to get up, pick up a book, go to the library, go to...
Or just use
pick up their-
freaking Google.
Yeah, go to your Google box. It's in your pocket. It's on your desktop. I mean, you can carry it around in your backpack.
Did you just say Google Box?
I did say Google box.
That is so much a father thing to say.
Hey, you know what? I'm a dad. Shut up. Leave me alone. Anyways, so, I mean, going out and educate yourself. Because if you're going to pick a side, be educated about it. If you're going to be convicted, if you're going to be passionate about something, know what the hell you're talking about. You know, you get these people that come in here and they're like, you know, they talk about there's systemic racism in the police department, there's too much police brutality, and it's like, you know, okay, brutality versus keeping the peace versus following procedures correctly.
Yeah.
There's a vast difference. I mean, when you feel somebody that shares the same skin color as you are steps out of line and the police put them in their place in the act of arresting them, yeah, they're going to view that as brutality because, oh God, my cousin, brother, sister, mom, dad, whatever your relation to that individual is, whether even it's just something as basic as the shade of your skin, you're going to view that as brutality because somehow you have been conditioned to think that this is a slight against you, and it's like it's got nothing to do with you. So why don't you pump the hate, pump the brakes there, Fox and Friends.
But I actually have a lot of. There was a cop during the ruck last week that we did, and he's saying because he's a cop in Maryland, he's moving. He's like, no, I'm either going to Florida or I'm going to South Carolina. But his thing is he's not allowed to do his job. The way they want them to do their job first is like, hey, hold on. Look, we got to stop this. And he even said there's certain things that I've done as a cop that I just go, dude, what are you doing? Stop being stupid. Do this. You could do this, or you could do this, and no one gets really hurt. And usually they take the second option.
So here's a hot take. And this is just my hot take. If you want to argue with me, fine. Leave it in the comments. We'll read it and we'll address it. But cops nowadays, they're having their hands tied behind their backs, much like our military did during Vietnam.
Yes.
Because the politicians are out there writing the policies. And instead of letting the people on the ground dictate. And I'm not saying dictate as in like overlord. I'm saying like dictate policy, dictate procedures.
Well,
because police departments know that there's a problem where they select few individuals. Every department's going to have them. Every walk of life has got bad apples.
Yeah, everybody has a dumbass Bob they have to deal with.
Exactly. But it's like you can't say because one guy raises his hand and says white power that all white people are devils. Looking at you, Louis Farrakhan, jackass. Anyways, just because one guy walks around with a suit and a bow tie and talks about how they're the mother race because they came from the actual motherland, it doesn't mean that every black person is racist. You're going to have those people. Unfortunately, those are the ones that are the most vocal about things, and it's unfortunate that the silent majority gets overlooked because the vocal minority are the ones out there making the most noise. And okay, so you remember how we always talking about how Winston Churchill had said that those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've always said that the 60s and 70s radical retreads that failed to get their job done back during Vietnam when they were protesting the war, they figured out that if they infiltrate academia in every public office, that they could eventually rewrite the book. And that's what they're doing. And what we're seeing, and we've been seeing this happen over the last 10, 15 years, is the academia brainwashing our kids to think a certain way, to think a leftist, to think with a leftist mentality, because they somehow think that even though over the course of human history, every time we've tried socialism, it's failed, that somehow they can do it this way and it'll work. Well, I got a hot flash for you. It won't. And then we're going to be left standing there with this huge bill, and then what are we going to be doing? Our future generations are on the line. So, and I'm not saying that conservatism is 100% the way to go. Do I believe mostly conservative value, in mostly conservative values? Yeah, I am. I identify as a Reagan conservative. But, there's when we're talking about, turning your back to the national anthem, you're not making a statement. You're just making yourself look like an ass, because while you think that you're out there fighting the good fight, there's a time and a place to do that. Kneeling for the national anthem at public sporting event or professional sporting events, that's not the time and place. You are an employee. I pay your salary, i.e. through ticket sales, merchandising sales, and stuff like that. When you show up to work, I don't care about your personal opinion. Do your damn job and clock out for the day.
But that's the thing about nowadays is because of social media, because of the internet, everybody can say their opinion now.
Yeah, and again, it's because we always come back to the fact that everybody has forgotten what it means to get punched in the mouth.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Unfortunately, these days, we can't espouse violence. I'm not espousing actual physical violence. But now, even though I think that some of these people that run around, with their mouths engaged, writing checks that their bodies can't cash, I think that they went through their entire life without a good ass whipping. And it's usually because they came from a broken home, or their dad just spent a lot of time being emasculated by their mother. Whatever it is, it's like you and I, we grew up, for the most part, we learned to accept criticism at the hands of our fathers, because what did we do when we were, hey, go out and help your, hey, come out and help me work on the car. It didn't matter how well you held that flashlight, how illuminated that bolt was, you were always holding it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Can't see. Move over here. I mean, it's like,
It's
okay.
also the place where you found out how to say those foul languages.
Yeah, exactly. But now everybody's got access to YouTube and every social media platform out there, whether it be Discord, Twitch, it doesn't matter. Twitter, Patreon. But links in bio. Anyways.
Not yet.
Not yet. So
I still haven't finished
hey,
that
that's
up.
a sneak preview. Ooh, look at that. It was a teaser. But, if we're going to, parenthetically or what's the word I'm looking for? Effectively punch people in the mouth these days, we need to do it in their pocketbooks. And I'm not saying go with these huge nationwide boycotts, because boycotts don't work. And here's why. When suppliers like the Finish Line or Foot Locker or Champ Sports, they buy these shoes, they buy them from the manufacturers. The shoes have already been paid for. All you're doing is hurting that business. If you want to boycott something, we need to do it, and not necessarily a boycott, but we need to do like a letter writing campaign, and let's get old school about it. Let's flood their mailroom.
That's one thing that I've noticed, that a lot of the,
because you can delete an email, but if your mailroom gets inundated with mail, like actual physical mail, which, by the way, if we're doing that at the same time to sending home a very physical, tangible message that the board of directors at these companies that support these whiny-ass athletes like Nike.
I mean, you could do it. You could do it both through social media and physical. What you can do, you can take a picture of the letter that you're sending and mail it.
You could do that too. But, I mean, you could always hit the delete button on an email. But, you get these letters. Somebody's going to eventually read them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I would love nothing more than to see, like, LeBron James lose his shoe contract. Why? Well, because, one, the guy whines, he flops, and really, do you really want that? No, you're buying, I mean, the company invests in a name, but they're not looking at the person who wears it. And it's kind of like that saying, there's a difference between tab wearers and tab bearers when we're talking about Army Rangers, right? You get these guys that walk around all cocky and think that their shit doesn't stink because, well, they're associated with the Rangers or they went and graduated from Ranger School, versus the guys who carry themselves like a Ranger is supposed to. And you get these guys
actually gotten the tab and
they've got the tab, and they didn't necessarily serve with a battalion, but they walk around and they don't expect you to cower to them because I'm your Ranger. No, they lead by example, and actions speak louder than words. And a lot of these guys that have this huge sense of bravado when they walk into the room, and they're these blowhards. Usually, whenever crap starts going sideways, they're the ones that are complaining the most and the loudest. And the guys that walk around and they don't say anything, the calm, cool, collected ones, those are the dudes that are about to cut wire and start sorting dudes out.
I'm still to this day trying to figure out how people look at me as a leader. Because half this, I was like, dude, because even when I was doing this, I mean, and I got a couple of friends that I was like, man, I don't. After talking with you for a good, and this is not to boast, because I hate boasting, but it's the praise I get from other people. It's one of those things is, if I'm speaking of how high I should be on that horse, I shouldn't be a leader. But if there's people around me telling everybody else the reason why he should be a leader,
right,
then that's the guy that you should be a leader. That should be the leader. It's like my dad keeps on asking me when I'm going to start doing government work for politics and everything. I'm like, Dad, I had a thought, and I was going to work on it and everything, but I'd rather have my voice, if I'm going to do something like that, be heard, and not have to worry about the job every 2 years.
Yeah, but I don't know. All that aside, we're gonna take a step back from the political soapbox here.
Yeah.
It is a sports show after all. Now,
Even though we already mentioned. Okay, the thing about the her name is Lori Hubbard, the New Zealand transgender weightlifter.
Yeah.
That's one. She's 43.
I saw a tweet the other day. In fact, it was this morning. It was like, let the trans, let trans compete in their, in the opposite gender, and let's go crush these records.
Yeah.
And it was a complete troll tweet. I mean, obviously, but
Well,
I thought it was funny.
It's just going to show that men are better than women. We're past the 5-minute mark. I can do that.
Right, for the people with the short attention spans, but for those
Nobody's.
So for those people that do listen, you're gonna inevitably.
I'm surprised I haven't gotten Larry because I said some really awful stuff after the 5-minute mark.
Inevitably, we are going to hear from at least one of our fans, one of our subscribers. Excuse me. I could see it. And they're gonna strike that. They're gonna strike that sassy Hispanic pose with that hip cocked out to the side and that hand up there. And they're going to be like, I know you just didn't go there,
Oh, yeah.
Please direct all hate mail to @DavidDickerman@angrymeproduction.com. But,
Nah, she usually just comments or messages me personally. So, I get that. I get that. I get that. Well, it's like she messaged like on the she messaged on the YouTube channel. She commented on the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Then she commented on the Facebook, the Angry Me Production Facebook page about what's the thing of baseball seats. And I was like, let me ask Johnny because I'm not the sports guy. I'm just the funny commentator on the side, and some of my jokes is like, why the fuck did you say that?
Yeah.
But I was like, then I looked it up and everything like that, and I was like, huh.
I'll give you some props here because even though you're completely and totally out of your element here with the sports show, you do come up with some pretty some pretty resounding knowledge bombs, man.
I'm a spy. By trait.
Okay. So
I can pick and this is not I was in the CIA spy or I was actually a spy or anything like that. No, I read and watch a lot of spy movies.
David Dickerman.
Hey, Matt Bester, I said it's a badass last name.
He did. And I was listening to that episode when I was down in Angleton this weekend, sitting on the back porch with my girlfriend.
Even JT loved my last name.
Yeah, he's like, Dickerman. Dickerman. Yeah, you're going to go into the maybe pile just because your last name. I was like, yeah, okay, this is the episode then. Yeah, all right. So, but they were just going through names, and like the 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Where they had absolutely no qualifications. Like, do you have a broom closet I could rent out? And they're like, just because you're going to go in the baby pile. We're going to do a video interview with you. And I'm like, oh, come on. Anyways, so...
I haven't heard back.
I would keep pestering. Persistence is the key. Anyway, so over the weekend, the New York Yankees traveled to Fenway Park to play another 3 games against the Boston Red Sox. And
You sound
the Yankees
happy.
got swept again. So now
You sound so happy about the Yankees losing.
Well, here it is. You got Garrett Cole. Comes over from the Astros. Gets a 9-year, $320-something million contract. He faces the Red Sox in the postseason. He faces the Red Sox in the postseason when he was still a member of the Astros in 2018. Gets lit up. I mean, lit up.
Well, they always played the money ball.
Then, no. See, now that he's a member of the Yankees, they don't give a crap about Moneyball. I mean, they're playing a different kind of money ball. They're trying to throw as much money at the game as possible, as humanly possible, and
But
see
they've
what
always
sticks.
been trying to do that.
Yeah, I know. But anyways, so first night it was a 5-3 loss for the Yankees. There's a meme that's out there, and I always put it on my Twitter feed. It's David Ortiz going, "Duh, Yankees lose." You know, and I'm like, I always put that on my Twitter feed. It's great. And if you notice, I changed my Facebook profile again to the Veritek punching A-Rod in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You'd love that one.
I do. I used to have one where it was a baby wearing a backward Red Sox cap and its bare ass is squashing the Yankees hat. But
Oh.
I can't find it. I don't know. I mean, and to be fair, Facebook would probably take it down.
Yeah.
But because Mark Zuckerberg is always asking people for their papers.
Actually, it's not Mark Zuckerberg, but yeah, I did the.
Let's put it this way: his brown shirts, his army of brown shirts that he puts out there, they're the ones asking for papers. So if we're gonna call it kettle black, let's just do that. Anyways,
Actually, it's the AI.
I
I would ended up
you
just a quick thing.
want to take the hobnails out of the boots that you keep stepping on my toes with here, guys?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
No, I watched this episode of Drinking Bros, and it was all about how the social media AI works and everything. And I just like, makes sense. Fuck, guys, I can't say Zuckerberg is doing all this stuff, because if you think about it, why the fuck would he care?
I didn't bring my tinfoil hat, so I mean, I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, so night number 1, which is a Friday, the Yankees lost 3-5. Garrett Whitlock picked up the win on that one. Matt Barnes comes in, gets the 16th save of the season that year, or that night. Night number 2, which was Saturday night on the 26th, this past weekend. Yankees lost 2-4. Nathan Eovaldi, an ex-Yankee, picked up the win, and Adam Ottavino picked up the save, another ex-Yankee. So it's almost like, as far as pitchers are concerned, the Red Sox have become a former Yankee Yankee pitcher rehabilitation team.
I like rehab team.
Yeah, because if you've met any of the people that actually live in the Boston area, rehab might be applicable there.
Yeah.
And yes, I know I said that. I said that out loud, and I don't really care. If we're gonna get hate mail, we're gonna get voice messages. We're gonna get audio recordings in our email.
Oh,
you motherfucker!
By the way, Adam Ayer, Ayer, Ayer,
Air, yeah.
Ayer, who is from Boston.
Boston.
Thank you for subscribing.
Yeah, you know what? That's okay.
Just after, because he has the thick accent.
Well, he's got that thick accent, so he's going to go up to his buddy. He's going to be like, I can't tell you where we're going. Can't tell you what we're going to do. All I can say is that we're going to hit somebody.
Whose car we taking?
Whose cow we taking? Yeah, exactly. So, it's one of the best lines.
He had a wonderful, and he was a great guy and everything. He's like, I'm going to, because we passed by McBride's, the downtown McBride's, which is actually a good down.
McBride's, yeah.
And he's like, what's that place? That smells good. That smells like real good. I was like, well, it smells like hickory, so it's probably just a steak place. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get that steak. I'm gonna get that steak right there. That's where I'm going. That smells so freaking good.
Yeah, so freaking good. Yeah, but night number 3, the Sunday night game. Actually, it was a Sunday day game, so it was a getaway game for the Yankees. They were leaving town, but Yankees lost 2-9. Eduardo Rodriguez. I can never say his name properly without doing that. Ruffles Rodriguez. Eduardo Rodriguez, pitcher for the Red Sox.
Such a racist.
You know what? No, it's not. It's not. Whatever. Because if we were going to be racist, people would call us out about the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard review of Antonio Banderas. You can't say Antonio Banderas without saying Antonio Banderas.
That's because he's earned that shit.
He has. It's like Sean Connery. You can't say Sean Connery's name without doing the accent.
I know. I mean, there's certain people you do the accent because they fucking earned that
because
shit.
they earned it, right? Eduardo Rodriguez, and I do that just out of fun because one, I'm on the fence with this guy because it's like when he's on, great, fine, do it, do your job. But most of the time, I mean, he's got a 5.83 ERA, so I mean, his earned run average. He's got the highest ERA on the pitching staff as far as the starters are concerned. He's inconsistent, and it's like, all right, dude, look, if you're wanting a deal, you need to pitch better. Especially if we're going to carry you through the playoffs and we're going to keep you on the roster. If you don't want to go to the bullpen, I suggest you start figuring it out. Because as the season starts to drag on, we get into the second half of the season because the All-Star game's fixing to come up. So the All-Star break's going to be where everybody goes home except for the people going to the All-Star game. You know, they're going to work. But if he's going to expect, I mean, if I were the general manager or the manager himself, if I was Alex Cora's position, I'd be like, look, dude, you need to start doing better. Come in, put in extra work, stay late with the pitching coach, figure it out, and do your job, or you're not going to be long for this world. At least not in a major league capacity.
You're going to be taking off that jersey pretty soon.
Send him back to AAA to Worcester. Yeah, I said Worcester. Worcester Woo Sox. And they changed their AAA affiliate this year, and it's horrible. Anyways, Erod, he just needs to do a better job. Garrett Cole picked up the loss, and it's like, okay, so here we go. This $327 million pitcher on a 9-year deal. Ever since they started taking sticky substances away, this dude's been getting lit up. So it's like, okay, all right. He can't use spider tack on his hands anymore, so he can't juice up the ball. It's like, all right, now he's lost spin rate, he's lost movement.
I've always wondered about that. I know that sandpaper.
Well, no, you can't scuff a ball. Well, I mean, there used to be rampant. I mean, rampant. I mean, if you look back at the scene from Major League where they're talking to the senior ace pitcher on the staff, he was like, he keeps KY jelly in his armpits, Vaseline in his nose, a little Tabasco sauce on his chest. I mean, they're like, Jesus Christ. And he's like, yeah, I bring him to the mound too. But, and it's like, when you get this, so you tell me how much movement you get on your stuff, kid, and then we'll talk, but, and it's like.
Well, they had that one movie where the kid ended up, or they had some kind of formula or something like that.
Yeah, it was an old Gary Cooper movie.
That's right.
I know what you're talking about. And he had one bottle of it left.
Someone used it on the hair.
So for his hair tonic, and it was the catcher. So the catcher would come out, and he's rubbing his hands through the catcher's hair. And he had to throw the last pitch, and it would end up being the last pitch of his career with no juice on the ball. And ended up having to catch a line drive, just a comebacker to the mound, barehanded, and ended up breaking every bone in his hand. And the doctor's like, "You'll never pitch again."
And he was like, "Thank God."
He was a chemist, or he was a chemistry teacher, and he had a hole in his glove with the pad under there, or whatever. Yeah, so I mean, it would make the ball jump over the bat. I remember that.
Yeah, because back then they didn't have aluminum bats; they just had wooden bats.
Well, they don't use aluminum bats in the big leagues now.
What the chemical was is some substance that
it repelled wood.
Yeah, well, it was like a magnet, south and north pole.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but I mean, we've got a sticky substance that's sanctioned by Major League Baseball, and it's rosin. You mix rosin with water or sweat, it gets sticky. It's supposed to be there to help dry the sweat off of people's hands. Trevor Bauer, who pitches for the Dodgers, I mean, he's got a really good blog and YouTube channel going, where he talks about he's into the big stats thing. He's a big sabermetrics guy. He talks about spin rate a lot and everything. And he sat in the dugout and gave an interview, and he's got a baseball stuck to his palm, just like this. And he's like, yeah, this is the allowed substance in the game. And all it was rosin and sweat. And the ball was sticking to his hand. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can't go over the top with it, obviously. You can't use shit like pine tar. There was a Red Sox-Yankees game a couple years back. Pineda. I forget his first name, but the pitcher's last name was Pineda. Standing on the mound, I think the game was at Fenway because it was at Fenway, and it was a nationally televised game. And I think this was in 2013 because this was the last year that John Farrell managed the team. Everybody on national TV could see this. I mean, Pineda, he's a black player, or a Dominican player. But Dominican, I think. Anyways, doesn't matter. He had this unusually dark streak right here on the side of his neck. And every camera in the country was focused on this. And I'm like, what is that? Because he kept reaching back there and touching his neck. John Farrell, he's picking up on this, and he calls the umpires over, and he's like, go check his neck. And it's like this dude took one of the sticks from the on deck circle where batters use to like make the handles of their bat sticky.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he went like this, like he was applying foundation makeup or something. And he got ejected from the game. Of course, Joe Girardi, who we'll bring up here and again in just a second, he was the manager of the Yankees at the time. He gets all pissed off and butthurt about it. He's like, and they're like, he's got pine tar on his neck and he's going to it. That's cheating. You can't do that. Yeah. I mean, you see guys like pitchers, like especially the old school pitchers, they've got, they're always going to the brim of their hat. It's because they load the brim of their hat up with rosin. So they're going to it, and make their hand sticky and it dries it up.
How are they not bald?
What, with their ball caps? Dude, have you seen the hair? I mean, obviously, look at this head of hair. I wear ball caps all the time.
No. I mean, if you're setting up your rosin and everything,
they're putting it on the bill of their caps, right here.
Oh, okay.
So when a pitcher is going, and they're going to the brim of their hat, like I'm left-handed, so I'm going to go like this. I'm gonna go like that, and and it looks like I'm adjusting my cap, but you know damn well what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm getting that extra rosin.
I've never even. I've seen them do.
Next time you get a chance to watch a game.
No, I've seen the games and everything, and I've seen them do that. And it's like that. That's just amazing to me that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah, but they'll either load that up with rosin or they'll load it up with pine tar. But now they're checking it because we actually had a hat get ejected during a Rays game like a week and a half ago. The manager from the other team was like, "Hey, go check his hat because he keeps going to his hat." And they went and they pulled his hat off and they're looking at it, and they're like, and they handed the hat off to the equipment manager. The pitcher's standing there like, what what? They brought out another hat, a brand new hat, flat brimmed and everything, and he's having out there to finish pitching the inning. And I'm like, that's funny. It's the first time I've ever seen a piece of uniform get ejected.
That is very, very, very funny.
We get guys who get accused of using cork bats like George Brett did back in the day. I mean, he went completely ballistic on the officiating staff. But Sammy Sosa, most notably, whenever it was in the heat of that home run race between him and Mark McGwire, he was using a corked bat during batting practice to kind of put on a show for the fans and forgot to swap it out. Well, he broke his bat during a game.
I remember that.
And they were picking up pieces of the bat, and they were like, they tossed him, and then he's like, what?
And it was freaking
basically,
obvious.
Yeah, and that, for all intents and purposes, ended Sammy Sosa's career.
Yeah.
It really did. But,
I don't know. It's one of those things is you have to try to figure out why, if that's true or not, because what you just said was a legitimate thing and everything like that.
Well, if you look at the numbers, because now they're measuring things like spin rate. Okay, so what they'll do is they get a defined segment between the mound and the plate where they measure how many revolutions the ball spins, right? And they were rumbling about this during the offseason last year, where they were going to start looking at spin rates. And, because pitchers were having to try to combat the launch angle hitters, right? All these guys are doing just swinging for the fences. It's either home runs or strikeouts, right? And pitchers were having to try to figure out a way to get it past these hitters. Well, instead of becoming an actual pitcher, these guys were resorting to foreign substances to put on the ball. They were doctoring the ball. They were stealing from the integrity of the game. Do I think that sticky substances like pine tar, spider tack, stuff like that, do I think it needs to be banned from the game? Absolutely, I do. Because we really need to become better stewards of the game. And I think that once we get back to a level playing field, because, I mean, baseball still officially hasn't completely shrugged off the specter of the steroids era. Okay, because we still have people like Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds who are still eligible for the Hall of Fame, and eventually they may end up eventually getting in once these sports writers that have condemned them for using steroids to cheat stop voting. And you get these younger generations that don't get to hear those stories because they didn't get to witness it. They didn't have to live through the congressional hearings. They didn't have to listen to the endless news cycle when this list of PED users came out.
Yeah.
Okay. Eventually, they'll get voted in. And I think it's unfortunate because you look at Barry Bonds now. Looked at him, and during his first couple of years in the season in the majors, dude he was a beanpole, absolute beanpole, skinny as a rail. Then he started juicing, and dude bulked up and started hitting home runs like crazy. Now, granted, yeah, you got to still have the talent to put the bat on the ball. You got to have the bat speed, but your bat speed increases when you put on that much on that much mass. You build that kind of muscle. I mean, Mark McGwire, yeah.
I mean, there's so many baseball players that juice throughout the years. And
yeah, but you see, the thing of it is, though, is that, and I'll get back to Garrett Cole here in just a minute, but you get all these guys that actively cheated at the game. Carlos Correa.
Astro team.
Yeah, Astro team. Were they just the whole Astro team themselves?
Yeah.
The 2017 edition of the Astros. And I know if my girlfriend watches this episode this far into it, she's going to be like, because she's a Stros fan. But
it's your ass getting beaten, not mine.
I digress. Anyways, so
I was really hoping you'd like, it's not that bad.
What was it Oliver North made famous? I plead the fifth. Or Harrison Ford for you movie buffs.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Now. Due to the sensitive nature of your question, I'm not allowed to divulge certain facts or incident or information about that incident had that incident actually taken place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here I am. I sound like you stuttering and stammering all over the place. Look at you, got me fucked up, dude.
I'm tired.
Anyways, so you get all these people that cheated, openly and actively got caught cheating at the game. Whether it be steroids or whether it be stealing signs and orchestrating a huge system to win yourself a World Series. They're still being allowed to play. They violated the integrity of the game.
And they got someone like Pete Rose because he gambled on.
Thank you, because that's exactly where I was going to go. Pete Rose gambled, and somehow gambling on your team, not against your team, but on your team, is so egregiously bad for the game that you've been banned for life? Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, I'm going to get on that bandwagon. Free Pete Rose. Charlie Hustle deserves to be in the fucking Hall of Fame. I mean, he really does. I mean, that dude busted his ass, and he earned it the hard way. He drank beer and fucking ate hot dogs just like Babe Ruth did, and he amassed over 4,000 hits, almost 4,200 hits in his career.
Yeah.
Nobody has even come close to that. They want to try to add these numbers from Ichiro Suzuki's Japan career and say, okay, well, he's got to combine more than 4,500 hits. Well, great, fine. But as far as the hits that he amassed while playing Major League Baseball in America.
Yeah, that was the only thing.
He only has like 27, 28. I think like I think he's got a little over 3,000 hits. Nobody is ever going to break that record because of the durability of today's player because the way that the game is managed nowadays, you're not going to get a guy. I mean, just like we'll never, ever, ever, ever see another Cal Ripken Jr. then break that consecutive games played streak. Never. That is going to be a record that will never get broken. Just like we thought, okay, well, Lou Gehrig's going to hold it forever and ever, and that's going to be his record from day, till Jesus comes back. No, Lou Gehrig, step aside. Here comes Cal Ripken Jr. Because you know what happened in that game? That he broke the record. He came in for one plate appearance, which is an official game played, and they put him on the bench, and he took the next day off. Because, by God, he earned it. Well, fuck me. The dude played, 2,000-something consecutive games. That's like 18, 19 years worth of games without missing a day of work. Yeah, I think, okay, yeah. He earned a day off, You get these guys who are like, oh, my shoulder's a little tweaked. You know what, dude? Shoulder's a little tweaked. Why don't you go take an ice bath after the game? Get the masseuse, the team doctor to go massage that crap out. Stretch it the next day and show up for work. But getting back to Gerrit Cole. This guy, 9 years, $327 million. He comes in and dominates a little bit. He's got great movement on his ball, on his pitches and stuff, his little filthy slider and all this good stuff, right? He's using spider tack, sticky substance. Baseball, officially said, you know what? We're banning all sticky substance, foreign substances. The only thing that's allowed out there is rosin, and we're going to even watch to see how you use that. And all of a sudden, spin rates are down. All of a sudden, movement is not as pronounced. He's now got a 2.66 ERA. He's officially 8-4 on the year. And the guy is, I'm sure he's going to run into another win between now and the end of the year. Statistically speaking, he has to.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you pay a guy that much, you want him to come in and you want him to perform. So do Yankees fans and the New York media have every right to lambaste the shit out of this team? Absolutely they do. I would be pissed off too because, the reason why they can afford these huge payrolls is because the Steinbrenner family has convinced the city and the citizens of New York State, or not state, but New York City, to pay the taxes on this god-awful organization. You're going to sit there and put this.
It's the same thing that Jerry Jones did for the Cowboys Stadium.
You are really going to get my ass whipped here, because my girlfriend, her and her sister both diehard Cowboys fans, just like most of the people in the state of Texas. Me, don't care so much, but Jerry Jones.
One question.
Okay, go ahead.
Did she pay attention to the Facebook page?
I don't know. I'll ask her.
Because of that Formula One car and the crap car?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I think that's actually a Yugo.
Yugo?
Yeah.
Russian Yugo?
No, the Yugoslavian Yugo.
Oh, Yugoslavian.
Yeah, which is why they called it the Yugo.
Okay.
Yeah, see, look at that light bulb. But, you get Gerrit Cole coming in here, just like a lot of these big-name pitchers, these quote-unquote aces that have had filthy stuff in their repertoire as far as trying to get hitters out, inducing ground balls, stuff like that.
Is there's no thing that after say I do fucked up shit for 3 times. After the 3rd time, I'm kicked out of baseball and I can't do the Hall of Fame. Shouldn't there be something in place for something like that?
At the time that Pete Rose got caught gambling on baseball, you still had a lot of that old guard because, there was, if you look at, what was it, the 1908 White Sox, the entire team, they went to the World Series and they threw the World Series. Because mobsters were, bought the team off to throw the World Series so that way, because they were favored to win. So the mob comes in and says, hey, we're going to bet on the underdog. We're going to pay you guys X amount of dollars. And that team had a lot of greats on it, most notably Shoeless Joe Jackson. Shoeless Joe did take the money. The guy was illiterate. That's why you'll never see maybe one or two autographs from Shoeless Joe Jackson out there floating in circulation. And the reason why that is because he was embarrassed. He didn't know how to spell his own name. He was illiterate. But the guy was a hell of a ball player. Okay, I mean,
you're looking at the time frame too.
True. I mean, you're looking at the time frame still, but all that aside, he took the money, but he did not throw the World Series. He didn't. Every time he went out there, he busted his ass. He was putting up MVP style numbers during that World Series. I think he was batting like 4 something for the world, for the series. And let me see here. Let me check. What is it? BaseballReference.com. BaseballReference.com. So yeah, I'm going to look up. Shoeless Joe Jackson. I mean, the guy ended his career with a .356 batting average. Okay. And, I mean, he had an on-base percentage of .423, a slugging percentage of .517.
1,772 hits.
Yeah, so I mean, a total of 1,772 hits total, 54 careers, career home runs. And it's, for the, what was it? Where is... He played his entire career it was 1920 Red Sox, I think it was, or White Sox rather, because he played for the Philadelphia Athletics, which they don't exist at all. Period. They didn't move to Oakland. I mean, I know that's the common misconception, but they didn't. I played for the Cleveland Indians, and then he spent the majority of his career the most notable part of his career, playing for the White Sox. But
12 base hits set in a series record that was not broken until 1964 for the World Series.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it was the 1919 White Sox. That's what it was. So they went to the World Series, and then he batted .375 during that series. On-base percentage of .394. He touched a total of 18 bases that entire series. They lost against Cincinnati. Let's see here. He had 12 hits in the series. He scored 5 runs, 6 RBIs. I mean, you look at that. You look at those numbers, and there are guys that play today that would die to have those kinds of numbers during the course of a month.
Yeah.
And this guy did it in a World Series. And you're going to sit there and try to tell me, should he have been punished for taking the money? Absolutely. But you cannot definitively tell me, based on those numbers, that this guy took a fall. You can't. You can argue all day till you're blue in the face.
I mean, they had to do.
I'm going to look at you.
They
like
had to do
touched.
A congressional hearing on that one.
And it was such a blight on the game. And at the time they were like, okay, you're permanently banned from baseball, and it ruined his life. Because baseball is all he had. Now, I mean, you look at Pete Rose. When Pete Rose, I think it was Fay Vincent at the time that was the commissioner of baseball at the time. I mean, this guy's so. Okay, so you're supposed to get into the Hall of Fame based on your productivity and what your contributions to the game after the fact, right? I mean, we're looking at, okay, Pete Rose, he was an MVP, he was Rookie of the Year, 3 times World Series champion, 17-time All-Star, 2 Gold Gloves, he won a Silver Slugger Award, 3 batting titles. He was named the MVP of one of the World Series that he went to. And, the guy just, he was a switch hitter, so he could hit from both sides of the plate. And he was right-handed as the day is long. He was an outfielder, first baseman. He played in the hot corner over there in third, so he played both corners in the infield. And he was an outfielder. The guy was about as close to an all-purpose utility player as you were going to get. You got a lot of guys now that kind of model their playing styles after the utility player greats of the game, so that way they get the most chances and opportunities to play. But Pete Rose, the only thing I found him having fault in when he finally retired in '86 is that he bet. He bet. He had a problem. Gambling is an addiction. I get that. But he didn't beat his wife.
What's really funny is where he lives now.
Yeah, what's funny is that...
Because he lives in Vegas.
He does. But when he goes to, like, conventions where, like baseball memorabilia conventions where, you get these autograph hounds, he signs a lot of his baseballs now, Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, whatever. Sorry, I bet on the game.
Yeah.
That's what he does. And I think it's a big middle finger. He was supposed to have met with the previous commissioner.
It was...
Shit, I can't even remember that little...
It was about a year ago.
Name. Was it about a year? No, it was more than that.
No, it was about a year because he was on Drinking Bros when it happened.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah, because when the current commissioner came in...
It was... I know when it was because it was during last year's SHOT Show because the pandemic hadn't gone and he was on the Drinking Bros podcast.
Yeah. They called him to New York, to the Major League Baseball headquarters, to have a sit-down with Robert Manfred. And Robert Manfred kind of gave him this whole, hey, it's, we just want to clear the air. And everybody, including Pete Rose, kind of had this this idea that was conveyed by Major League Baseball and its public relations office that Pete Rose was going to be reinstated. All he had to do was come in and have a sit-down chat with the commissioner. He walked out of the building, still banned for life, and the commissioner went back on his word.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, did you bet on the game? And he admitted to it. And he was like, yeah, I bet on the game. Like, you have any regrets on it? Yeah. I got a regret that I got caught. He was like, dude, do you want me to answer these questions honestly, or do you want me to blow smoke up your ass?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he got caught. Players gamble all the time. He's the one that got caught. And they wanted to make an example out of him. And I think mostly it was because Fay Vincent at the time, the commissioner of baseball at the time, really did not like Pete Rose, thought that Pete Rose was not the type of player model that Major League Baseball needed at the time. Because he was very hard-nosed, smash-mouth baseball, which is the way I think that the game needs to be played. We need to get back to that. And you get these guys that are these finely tuned athletes. As much as I liked Mookie Betts, and I still think that the guy has a ton of talent, you get somebody like Mookie Betts, you get him running into outfield walls like Ken Griffey Jr. used to, and you get him out there running his ass off, diving into bases, trying to outrun, trying to get underneath the throw. You get him out there legitimately laying out for catches in the outfield, and his body will break. It will break. And
that's the thing, though. A lot of the players nowadays are willing to give them... They make these high dollar and everything like that, but they're not willing to break their body.
Yeah, and because they look at their body like, okay, they're investing in my body. They're investing in my talent. And I'm looking at it like, I'm paying you this much so you can give up the body.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you're guaranteed X amount of dollars per year. We need to start putting incentives into these contracts. I mean, we need to get away from plate appearances. We need to get away from RBI production. Yeah, well, you know what? Let me retract.
$100,000 for a finger?
No, I'm not talking about giving up limbs. I'm not, or appendages. I'm not saying that.
I mean...
It's like, okay, like with the Golden Glove, okay, or not Golden Glove, the Gold Glove award that fielders get every year. You have to be the best in your defensive position to get a Gold Glove, right? they only hand out 9 of these: catcher, pitcher, and then the rest of the positions in the outfield, right, or in the infield and outfield. All right, only fielders, to include the pitchers, get a Gold Glove. People like Jackie Bradley Jr. Zach Medford talked about it last week. You know, he went to that camp and, you know, played.
Oh, you forgot to shout out.
I'll get to that in a second. You know, Jackie Bradley Jr., arguably probably one of the best outfielders in the game today. Even though he doesn't, you know, he plays for Milwaukee now. I like the guy. I like the way that he plays in the outfield. He goes all out. I mean, the dude gives up the body. He really does. And he runs efficient routes to flag, you know, to run down these fly balls. And it's not the most spectacular catches. You get people like Kiermaier from Tampa Bay. He gets out there, flashes the leather, makes these unnecessary jumps, bounds, leaps, and lays out for balls that, well, if you'd have just taken a better, more efficient route to the ball, it had basically been what they call a can of corn. You just put it in your back pocket.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not going to win you a Gold Glove. That's not going to get you money when your contract comes around. You know, I think that the Gold Glove voting needs to focus more on route efficiency. I think they need to focus more on percentage of a successful attempts at fielding that play versus the flash.
Isn't it just like a numbers game?
It should be a numbers game, but they're looking at the number of great highlight reel type catches. You know, I mean, they're looking at, okay, who's the most notable in this position instead of the guys out there doing it the right way. And
well, it's like that picture that caught the ball with his bare hand when a guy shot it down his lane. He was like,
yeah, he just reaches out and grabs it and spikes it into the mound because that was the third out. But yeah, let me grab this real quick. So
while he's doing that, I'm going to talk about the Megan Rapinoe, Rapinoe, is it?
Yes,
Rapinoe?
it's Megan Rapinoe.
Who apparently is getting canceled through, I'm not going to say what she said, but you're going to have to just look at the tweet that she tweeted in 2011. They went back.
Wow, you mean to tell me that somebody on the left had their history come back and bite them in the ass?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it ain't so.
It's one of those. It's one of the
Okay, so while you're trying to cue that up,
no. I'm almost done. It's one of those things. It's just ridiculous. She's becoming the new spokesperson for Victoria's Secret catalog.
Why?
They're trying to go more woke, but the people are saying it's like, well, she said this over 10 years ago, and I can't believe she did it. We need to cancel her.
Oh my God!
It was so racist.
That is hilarious.
What she said?
Yeah. You know what?
But
put a link to this article in the description of this video.
I got it set on yours. It'll be quick.
Okay, so.
But yeah, you can look at what she said because I'm not saying it because.
Okay, so for our fans, our listeners that don't watch us on YouTube,
by the time they get to this point, they stop listening.
No, really, there are people out there that do listen to the entirety of our episodes, and so for y'all are the real MVPs. But for the people that listen to us on Apple or Spotify,
I'll put the link in because it's a one-click thing for.
Okay, so fine, yeah, put it in there. Check the description on this episode and click the link there, and it'll take you to the hitc.com article.
I just posted on Facebook, but
that is fire right there.
That is.
But okay, so that's funny, and if you notice, it's Twitter for BlackBerry.
Yeah.
So for those of you who follow this show, we had a guest come on last week, an Army buddy of mine by the name of Zach Medford. who is an Atlanta Braves fan, and we had discussed that there was a wager, a friendly gentleman's wager between he and I, concerning the Red Sox and Braves. Well, my Red Sox swept his Braves in that 2-game set down in Atlanta.
I still say you should have done the bet to where one of y'all wears the dress.
That would have never happened.
I don't know. You shave and you show off your legs.
I'm saying for him because he's a hairy guy. But anyways, digressing.
I mean, you can wear a kilt.
Anyway, we're moving on. It's like the White House tour. We're walking. Okay, so I texted him, and he was like, crying, blah blah blah. Anyway, so because
He should have sent us a photo of him crying in a corner.
no, you know what? No, I respect the hell out of Zach, and
He seems like a good guy. I just like giving
the
help
dude.
people.
Yeah, I mean, the guy he's squared away, man.
Yeah, all the stuff that he was talking about, all the stuff that he was doing to help our community and everything
Yeah.
like that. Or the
community where he lives. Yeah. So, but I mean, I'll give him, and I was willing to kind of let it go and just say, you know what, don't worry about it. And he's like, no, it was on the podcast. I need to make right on this. So, Zach Medford sent me a text the other day, and he was like, yeah, basically kind of like, I'm not putting that crap on my head. I'm just paraphrasing. But he did find another piece of merchandise and sent it to me, and it got here today, which is great because it works out beautifully for the today's
And
episode.
Zach, if next time that you have to say something like that, just go, I'd rather have a hobo shit in my eye than to have to wear that shit.
Zach
I'm here to
Zach
help
Medford
people.
from South Carolina, no slack veteran, my friend, made good on the bet, and he bought a rather snazzy, and I'm going to put this on the camera here,
Yeah.
Red Sox laptop / backpack, or a backpack / laptop bag, and you know what? I mean,
It looks really good.
it does. It's got a really
Kudos to you, Zach.
yeah. So I'm giving Zach his shout out, giving him his props. He did make good on the bet.
That is a really nice backpack.
I do. I like it. It's and I tell you what, man. I'll bring it in next week. I ordered a customized baseball glove from 44 Pro Sport or Pro Glove.
It better not only cost about $100.
It's customized. It cost me $200.
200, yeah.
Dude, no, trust me. This glove is just pure sex, man. It's pretty damn awesome.
I bet it is.
But
I'm one of those people that I can talk sports, but I can't see myself doing. Well, it's more or less day and age of how I live now. I mean,
right.
like me playing Magic. I can't force myself to buy the cards anymore. The stuff that I buy right now is all media stuff for this
Right.
podcast, and I'm loving this. I love the hobby of it. and
So
I
I'm
love
sending you
hockey.
the pictures for this, but I'll bring the actual glove in next week because I'm going to go through the break-in process over the weekend.
Shit, I'll look at it later. It went to my phone because I had it closed out.
Okay, so here.
Or send it again.
Yeah, well, it's sending, so hold on. But
Or you could be like an adult and airdrop that.
fine, I'll be an adult and airdrop it here. God, you want to complain, bitch? All right, fine. We're going to go select here, here, and here. Airdrop. And this dead air is brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah. I'll put it. That is actually okay.
See?
I mean, I wouldn't spend $200.
Well, but you
on
don't
it, but
play.
but
See,
it
me, I
looked
spend
really
enough time
nice.
playing catch and playing ball with my kid, that it's like I wanted a glove that I knew was going to last. I mean, I've had a glove that I used to play baseball with, and it
that
turned into a
actually looks
softball
really
glove.
cool, though.
It's like a $60 glove, and it's lasted like 20 years. But I mean, I wanted something that was
Well, that's
100%
good. Well,
leather.
the leather and everything like that, it'll probably last you.
And plus, the
probably
damn
about
thing's
10
got my
years.
name on it.
44.
No.
Oh, I love the Texas symbol too.
Right?
Okay, I could see. Well, you don't buy anything to where you're gonna trash in the next year. The reason why I whenever someone says something like that, there's a guy when I was in services every softball season, he would buy a new bat and new glove, and his glove was always about $200.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Nothing against Wilson or Rawlings, because, I mean, the main staples,
That
right?
looks really good.
Those gloves, they're entry-level pro grade gloves start at $250. Why? And if you want to get it customized, let alone embroidered with your name on it and anything to kind of personalize it, you're looking at it over easy $300, $400, $500. This company is an American company. They're based out of California. They have pro players, professional baseball players using their gloves. And a completely customized glove, the most that, I mean, if I'd have gone
That was
all
about
out.
$500 to $600.
Yeah.
For a Wilson one.
Yeah. So, I mean, with shipping, I paid $225 for it.
Actually, that's a really good deal.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful glove. That's a 12 and 3/4 inch long glove.
Bring it in next time. We'll just
Yeah.
bring it in next time.
But and then the bag that they sent it in, right? I mean, they wrapped the entire glove in plastic, in cellophane, and then they put it in a customized bag with my name embroidered on that too. So I mean, it just the presentation, the unboxing for this glove was amazing.
Did you get measurements for your hand too?
No, when you go in there, there's a glove builder on their website,
Oh, okay.
so you can pick the type of glove, the model, what position you play, and because each position the gloves do vary. Just like first base, it's almost like a catcher's mitt, but and like with the outfield, I mean, they can go up to 13 inches, and it just depends on the size of the hands. I mean, like with the 12, like almost with 12 and 3/4, like the glove as it sits on my hand, it comes out to here.
Yeah.
So, it gives you that extra extra inch or two of reach when you're out there trying to run down a
Do you have to do the
fly
same
ball.
thing with you do with like cowboy boots? Soak them in water and put them in the oven.
I will never soak that glove in water, and the reason why is because it breaks the leather down. Plus the fact that there's a lot of dyes, because if you notice the red, white, and blue on that, I mean, there's so much dye.
I was just one. Okay.
Yeah, well, there's specific ways to break it down, or not to break it down, but to break in a glove. Now I've got the mallet, and I've got the Neat's foot oil. There's this stuff called Rawlings puts it out. It's called glove linoleum. It's basically like a hot oil that kind of gets into the fibers, and you can help break that connective tissue down within the leather. You can find where the crease points are and stuff like that in the glove, and you can press on it and you can beat it down with the mallet. It's basically a softball sized mallet, wooden globe that's attached to a handle. But
Yeah, I've seen them do it to a
now
Rolls Royce.
you get those people that do bake their gloves, and that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. I'm not about that life. You can get the majority of the initial break-in process done with the mallet and an oil, and then you can get a band with like a blank. It's a softball-sized blank that you can put it in the pocket, and you can wrap it, and then just kind of let it sit overnight. But you have to, you can get it to where you can initially get that glove to work with your hand, right? You can close it and everything. But in order to get that good pocket, to get that good break-in, you just have to go out there with repetition and just play catch with this glove. And so I specific, because you get two different break-in options. You get like the 55 to 65% broke-in, and then you get the pro break-in, which is like 90 to 95% break-in by the player. So that's the one I went with, because if I'm going to keep this glove for years, I want to be the one that breaks that in. So I want to go through the entire process. But yeah, I'll bring it in. But I know that we're running long on time.
Yeah.
But
last thing we wanted to shout off on this, we're thinking of I'm gonna have a Patreon account, It's going to take a little bit of time. Then we're going to talk off air on that one. But what we wanted to do is start doing our new subscribers, and probably one day it would probably just get so big and everything. But it's just three: Adam Ayer, Chuck McNeil, and Anthony Bess.
Yeah, Anthony Bess. I know him.
Bess. Is that the best?
Yeah. Tony's one of the ruckers from our ruck club. He's also the member of the American Legion Post here in town. So yeah.
Oh, let me know how your wife's doing. 'Cause she had a little bit of a upset when we made it to P2.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. We should start shouting out our new subscribers as they come on. But
even though it's like, I think since me and you doing this is like an extra 15.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, like Obi-Wan Kenobi said, you've taken your first step into a much larger world. But there's the nerd part of our sports episode. But
yes.
Anyway, so for those of you on Apple, with your iPhones, iPads, or MacBooks, check out the Apple Podcast app and search out Angry Me Production. Give it a follow. Our episodes are pretty...
And only give us 5-star reviews. We don't take anything from anything less.
Right. We're either 5 stars great or we're 5 stars shit. So, but yeah, definitely.
There's no 0 button. That's the reason why I say that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Just give us a shitty review.
Yeah, I mean, at least get out there and review, but definitely give us a follow on Apple Podcast, Spotify as well.
Spotify is just I think it's just a thumbs up or thumbs
down.
Yeah,
you just give it a follow, but
you're either gonna let us live or kill us, like
exactly.
the Romans.
Yes, exactly. But definitely, again, also with the YouTube, give us smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell,
like button too.
Yeah, the like button over here. Look at you.
I know.
Screen orientation.
I know, right? One of these days I'm gonna have the shit. I really.
We're gonna put the graphics on the screen. Yeah.
I was thinking about that, but I'm still with the whole thinking of not doing it because it takes away from what we're doing. Honestly,
it does.
And I don't like that because I get annoyed with
because
that
at
shit.
a certain point it almost like kind of like, okay, what kind of a stunt are they going to pull for clout, right? It's like I'm not a clout chaser at all. I mean, I tell people about the show. I tell them, hey, where to find it.
Yeah, I stopped being on that street card and sucking dick, so I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just saying.
Just don't sign up to go do women's sports in the Olympics, please. And then we'll still be
It takes 4 years. I looked at the stuff for it. It takes 4 years for because you have to show. It is a process because I get researched on this stuff. Okay.
I'm
I'll make this as fast as possible.
And I'm probably out of the shot right now. I'm just leaning back. I just want to make sure that people can still hear me.
It takes 4 years, and you have to go in and they have to test your blood and your urine and everything like that. See if you're taking the pills and everything.
Stop you there for a second. Next time anybody hears from us, it's going to be on July 5th. So this is the 4th of July weekend. And I just want to take a time just to kind of free flow here for a second. Regardless as to what your opinion of our country, regardless of your opinion of what our nation's past is, we're all responsible for our nation's future. And I think that our future does need to maintain a foothold on its past. The 4th of July not only is our nation's birth, not only does it celebrate our announcement of independence from the English Empire, but it is also the birth date of freedom. And
that a lot of countries took our doctrine from.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of countries that exercise and enjoy their freedoms today took a page out of the American playbook. And whether or not you're proud to be an American, whether or not you choose to fly the Stars and Stripes on the 4th of July or not, is entirely up to you. We have that First Amendment right for a reason. Every amendment in our Bill of Rights and every article in our Constitution is protected by the Second Amendment. Firmly believe that. But it is also protected, preserved, and ensured by the men and women who wear the uniform of our country, who give up sections of their lives, and in most cases, not in most cases, in some cases, their lives, paying the ultimate sacrifice to ensure that the winds of freedom blow from, yes, sea to shining sea. We need to take the time to not only remember why we have these freedoms, but we need to remember to not take them for granted, because there will, and in some cases are, forces out there that would love to take them away from us in the name of power. And that is exactly why we declared our independence back on July 4th, 1776. So please, take the time to enjoy yourselves. Do it in a safe, responsible manner. But when you look up and you see the American flag flying, when you hear the national anthem being played, face the flag, appreciate it, listen to the lyrics of our national anthem. Take it to heart, and for God's sake, remember what it means to be an American. That's all I've got.
And I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
Thank you for watching.
Stay classy, San Diego.